Time for do-it-yourself home automation, and this is a look at the Okaysou Airmax 10L Pro air purifier. So this is a HEPA 13, H13 air purifier, which means that it's even a little bit better than a traditional HEPA filter at removing small particles. So an H13 will remove 99.97% of particles down to 0.1 microns, which means it can handle dust and hair and things you might find in a home, but also things like smoke and potentially even the particles that carry viruses. So it's a really good level of filtration. It's considered a medical grade filter in many contexts, and that's built into the Okaysou air purifier here, the 10L Airmax 10L Pro. One thing I really love about this purifier is that the blower inside here is very high speed. It's about 1200 RPM. So it's a turbine fan. It's almost like what you would find in a high-end vacuum cleaner instead of the traditional kind of squirrel cage fans that you get in a normal purifier. And the advantage of that is that the unit itself is pretty small, as you can see here, but it's actually able to move enough air to purify the air in a 1,000 square foot room and change it out once per hour. So it's got a CADR rating, which is the air movement rating of 250. Pretty good for a purifier that's on the small side. The only thing that's a little bit different about that is that it produces a higher pitch sound when it's running. So I was kind of confused by that at first, and then I learned about the high-speed fan. So as long as you're okay with that, it's very quiet, but it just sounds a little different than a traditional purifier. So let's go ahead and switch it on. I'm going to press the button on top. And the first thing you'll notice is this big glowing square on the front. And this is part of the smart features on the Airmax 10L Pro. So this is actually an air quality sensor. Right now it's blue, which means that the quality of the air is good, but it's measuring the small particulates in the air, and it will actually change color to be yellow if the air is of a moderate quality, or red if the air becomes unhealthy. And the advantage of that is that if you keep it on the auto mode, which I have here, it'll actually change the fan speed and the amount of air it's moving based on the air quality. So say you start cooking or something, you burn something in the kitchen, and the air quality in your home dips, or maybe there's a wildfire and the air from the outside gets in. That often happens here in California. This will change color and the fan speed will increase to help clear out the air. So that's really nice because you can leave it on auto. It won't run really loudly most of the time, but if the air quality drops, it'll automatically switch. You can also change this to an eco setting here. So that's the quietest. It's a whisper quiet if you want to have it running in your room, or turbo setting, which is the max speed. And you can see we're getting quite a lot of air movement there. And I'll bring something over the top. You can see I've got a balloon here, and it's really whipping around there. So you can see there's quite a lot of air coming out with that blower down at the bottom. I usually like to keep mine in the auto mode, but you can also manually change from 1, 2, or 3, 3 being the fastest fan speed. Let's go back to auto, filter reset. I'll get to the filters in a second. Child lock, you can lock out the top if you don't want your kids to be able to use these buttons. And then there's a timer function where you can set for 1 hour, 2 hours, 4 hours, or 8 hours. If you want to have this run, say when you're going to bed, but you don't want to run it all night, you can set a timer where it will shut off after a period of time. Other things I like about the Airmax 10L Pro is that it has 5 filters. So I'm not going to open it up now because I already loaded those filters. It does come with a set of filters and you can replace them, but there's 5 different layers, including a washable filter, the H13, another premium filter, which is kind of like just a standard HEPA filter as far as I can tell. There's a nano ionic filter, which they say has silver ions. In theory, that could potentially disrupt viruses or bacteria. I'm not sure, I'm not able to test that directly, but that's something that they say. There's a carbon filter as well that removes scents from the air. So if you're using this with any kind of strong smells in the house, that carbon filter will help to pick those up. So I think this is a really great purifier, again, for a relatively large room. And because you do have that faster fan speed, I'll be quiet for a second so you can hear what it sounds like. A little higher pitch than a typical purifier, but it does move so much air that you really get this compact unit that can accommodate a much larger room.